And so what we wanted to do with the ad is really underscore that Donald Trump's level of legal liability, this guy couldn't get a job at the local mall, right? The idea that a fast food restaurant wouldn't hire him with his record.
Yikes, that was the executive director of the Republican Accountability Project, which, shocker, never would have put those words together myself, saying that Donald Trump couldn't even get a job at the local mall or a fast food restaurant.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Which is hilarious in and of itself, but it also makes this headline that much funnier. Donald Trump and trial team splashed out an eye-watering $700 at a Manhattan McDonald's during the break in their jury selection. Obviously, left no tip for workers. But an order like this, which included 27 quarter pounders, 27 portions of fries, filet of fish, burgers, and chicken nuggets.
Hi, can I take your order?
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 cokes, 100 tater tots, 100 pizzas, 100 tenders, 100 meatballs, 100 coffees, 55 wings, 55 shakes, 55 pancakes, 55 pasta, 55 peppers, and 155 taters.
Really helps explain how even though Donald Trump is getting absolutely hammered here, he can't be getting hammered harder than his lawyers having to deal with his noxious Big Mac gas.
Mr. Trump, the court has received complaints that you are not only threatening the members of the jury, but that you are also falling asleep and relentlessly passing gas.
So that's fake news, and I have never farted. So you're a fraud and a scam.
Really makes you think twice about wanting to be a fly on the wall of that trial. And the ad she's referring to here, that I'll play for you in just a second, comes from Republican Voters Against Trump, which is a part of the Republican Accountability PAC. And this ad brilliantly details how all of Trump's legal troubles could be a massive liability for the presidency. Take a look.
I was wondering if you guys are hiring right now. I was thinking about applying for a job. I was thinking about applying for a job here. I'm currently facing 88 felonies. For detention of classified information. Do you all take people that have been found liable for sexual assault, trying to overturn the 2020 election, falsifying business records? I was wondering if that was going to be a problem.
I think working with diamonds and jewelry.
Just gonna pause your viewing for a quick second to ask you to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You hit that like button down below and the bell notification. It really helps the channel and we appreciate it. Back to it.
They're gonna do a background check.
Yeah.
So that's the only.
So probably not.
Yeah.
So do you guys hire people that have been found liable for sexual assault, or?
No. We run a phone background. It won't
Okay.
go through. No, we don't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Donald Trump has been charged with 88 felonies and found liable for sexual assault. If Trump is too big of a liability to get a job at your local mall, he is too big of a liability to be president of the United States. Republican Accountability PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, the irony of the fact that the guy who's notorious for firing people.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Let's go.
Hello, Mr. Trump. It's an honor to meet you. I was wondering what you would say to President Obama.
You're fired.
Wouldn't even be able to get hired anywhere.
And so the idea that we would make him president of the United States again, like, we get numb to it, right? We get sort of numb to who Donald Trump is. And because it's always so much, it's so many charges, it's so many, felonies, it's easy to just let it wash over you. But we really wanted to underscore, this is crazy.
Yeah, electing a narcissistic, sociopathic liar with 88 felonies who's been found liable for sexual assault is absolute insanity. But I guess luckily that's Republicans' campaign slogan.
I mean, there's just so many things about what we have seen from his behavior since he has been president. I'm not talking about even the person we saw who was president, but what we know about him since he left office that absolutely is disqualifying. And I think that because there's a numbness to voters, because you've got sort of two functional incumbents running against each other, people are sort of depressed by just sort of seeing a rerun of 2020. You do have to start showing people just how crazy this is. We're going to have new ways sort of wake people up to the insanity of all this.
She's right. It's easy to get discouraged or depressed about the current circumstances, but we do have to keep calling out Trump's insanity. So challenge accepted. Here's a recent social media post of his where he rails about his need for presidential immunity, saying, "Without immunity, it would be very hard for a president to enjoy his or her golden years of retirement. Obviously, golden years there in quotes because Trump has a very different idea of golden years than, say, everyone else, allegedly. But I digress. Continuing, they would be under siege by radical, out-of-control prosecutors, much like I am, but without the retirement word. Yeah, but no previous president has had that problem at all. Instead of complaining about prosecutors prosecuting you and arguing for blanket immunity, why don't you try not committing crimes? And God, Donald, I would love nothing more for you to just retire, which I can only imagine would look something like this.
Judge, you are a fraud and a fake and a scam, and this case should never have been brought, and it's a witch hunt. And Sleepy Joe Biden is
Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump!
But alas, that's merely wishful thinking. Trump will not step down, and we have to do our part to change the minds of Republican voters. And fortunately, thanks to the great work of Republican voters against Trump, that is actually happening.
I'm a former Trump voter.
I voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020.
In 2020, I voted for Trump again.
I will never support Donald Trump.
I will not vote for him in 2024.
He's got so much baggage.
Trump is the biggest threat to our democracy.
He kept denying.
And he lost the election.
Donald Trump was responsible for the violence on January 6th.
He could have prevented it.
Trump talking about retribution.
Retribution and going after people is disrespect of our military.
The military people that he's disgraced.
91.
Criminal felonies.
4 different indictments.
He mishandled classified documents.
Taking documents.
Now his desire to do away with NATO.
Donald Trump talks about abandoning Ukraine.
He said he'll be a dictator on day one.
If he's going to be a dictator on day one, he's going to be a dictator, period.
That kind of stuff scares me.
Absolutely scares me.
The second Trump term would be worse than the first.
A second term for Trump
would be far more extreme.
It is dangerous, outright dangerous.
I cannot support Donald Trump again.
I would never vote for him again.
He'll never get my vote, ever, ever.
Yep. Republican voters are changing their mind more frequently than Donald Trump has to change underwear in court. And it makes sense because he continues to embarrass himself and be embarrassed by his own side. And the thing that I truly love about this ad and the work that Republican voters against Trump is doing is taking that position of how unqualified this buffoon is for any position, let alone the presidency. And I really hope that Republicans start to ask themselves,
what job in American society would Donald Trump be qualified for other than the presidency? We have saved our absolute lowest standard. You wouldn't hire him at the mall. You wouldn't hire him to babysit your kids. You would not hire him to be the CEO of a publicly traded company. You cannot imagine any institution of any school or institution of higher education hiring him. I can't imagine any corporation putting him on their board of directors. He wouldn't be qualified for any position in the U.S. military. If you wouldn't do business with him, if you wouldn't hire him, if you wouldn't associate him, why would you give him the nuclear codes? Why would you make him the commander-in-chief?
And that is a powerful question that I think, amid the rest of these proceedings, will make apparent to many people who are still on the fence about who to vote for this November, just how dangerous it would be to have Trump in the Oval Office yet again. Thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you get alerted when we drop new videos, and let me know in the comments what jobs you think Trump would actually qualify for, if any. And if there are none, hell, let's have some fun and let me know what job you would actually like to see Trump perform. I think my top choices would be fast food worker or a sewer maintenance person. But let me know yours down below. And if you can, we'd greatly appreciate your support over here or on Patreon so we can continue to grow and expand our operations, bring you more great videos like this, and keep that unqualified buffoon out of the White House. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you guys in the next one.